Orders march. Guard of honor will form 3 ranks. Form 3 ranks. Guard of honor will march off in 2 divisions. Move the right in 3. Right turn. We are duties by the light. Quick march.
that has been just a sneak peek of what to expect. President William Ruto is hosting his Italian counterpart Sergio Mattarella, who will be in Kenya for the next 4 days for talks, bilateral talks, that we will be getting to that as soon as they begin addressing the media. Indeed, you have just joined KBC's News Check on this day, the 14th day. My name is Ben Troy Njue, and Anwangeshi is our sign language interpreter. Today I'm hosting 4 professors. They come from the University of Eldoret. They are going to be telling us more about the university. And one key thing is that the university is celebrating 10 years of existence. Well, without further ado, allow me to rope in my panel of experts this morning. Let me begin with Professor Teresa Akenga, who is the Vice Chancellor of Eldoret University. Karibu sana, madam.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benson Jue, and thank you for giving us this chance to come and share with you about University of Eldoret and share with the public the University of Eldoret. Indeed, I'm Professor Teresa Akenga, a professor of chemistry and the founding vice chancellor of the University of Eldoret. I want to start by appreciating the government and all stakeholders and partners for supporting and encouraging the University of Eldoret.
All right. Allow me to first of all also introduce our fellow panelists so that we may be on the same page. Just next to her, we have Professor Philip Raburu. Philip Raburu is the DVC, Planning, Research and Extension. And of course, you'll be telling us a lot. He has been the hands-on man when it comes to the celebrations that we will be discussing this morning. Karibu sana, Professor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njue, and thank you so much for having us here. I'm Professor Philip Raburu, an aquatic scientist by profession, but right now I'm in the administration in charge of research, planning and extension at the University of Eldoret. Thank you.
And next to the VC, we have Professor Kisilu Kitainge, who is the Director, Industrial Linkages, Partnerships and Collaborations. Karibu sana, Prof.
Thank you, Benson. I'm Professor Kisilu Kitainge, a technology educationist, and currently serving as Director in charge of Industrial Linkages, Partnerships and Collaborations at the University of Eldoret. And formerly, I served as Dean, School of Education at the university.
Thank you so much. And just next to him, we have Professor Ruth Otunga, who is the DVC in charge of Academic and Student Affairs. Karibu sana, Prof.
Thank you very much. I'm a professor of education, specialized in curriculum studies. I'm in charge of academic and students affairs at the University of Eldoret, and I've been there for the last 10 years since the university was born. I was there even before when it was a college, so I have been there close to 15 years. So I know the university quite well as a campus of Moi University, and now as a separate university. I'm actually a professor from Moi University, where this university came from. Thank you very much.
All right. First things first, let's have a brief history of the university. Indeed, as the good professor has talked about, it was from Moi University and how it came to be University of Eldoret. I'll give this to the VC.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benson. I would like to say that as much as we are saying that the University of Eldoret is 10 years old, the institution was started in 1946 as a large-scale training farmers center by the then large-scale farmers, settlers in the North Rift. After that, it was converted to a teachers training college called Moi Teachers Training College. Now, during the double intake, sometimes back when universities were supposed to take in double students, Moi University required more space for accommodating the students, and they identified the Moi Teachers Training College to be the place to house the students and train them from there. So the Moi Teachers College became a campus of Moi University. After that, later on, the campus was given through an act of parliament to be a constituent college of Moi University, and it was called Chepkolel University College, a constituent college of Moi University. But in 2013, on 11th February 2013, the then president, our third president, His Honorable Mwai Kibaki, the late, gave us a charter. And when we were chartered, we changed our name from Chepkolel to University of Eldoret. So we were born and chartered as University of Eldoret to run our own affairs in 2013, exactly on the 11th of February. That's why we are celebrating the 10 years we have been there as an independent institution.
How is the university constituted, and what are some of the core values you hold dear?
Okay, indeed. Before we go to our core values, I would like to say that we have a vision. We have a vision to be a premier university that nurtures global leaders in innovation and research. Then we also have a mission to offer quality education in training and research in the areas of agriculture, technology, and science. And this training should meet the aspirations of a dynamic society. We have our core values. Some of them include inclusivity, integrity, and many others that come along. Then we also have a motto, and our motto is that we are the flame of knowledge and innovation. And we have stuck to that motto as we'll be discussing this matter today.
And allow me now to, first of all, switch gears to the DVC planning, because I'm quite sure this is something you have been looking forward to. 10 years of excellence. Kindly tell us about the celebrations that we expect, and they're gonna run for about a week.
Thank you very much, Benson. The University of Eldoret, as has been explained by our Vice Chancellor, was started operations in the year 2013. And we are 10 years this year from the beginning of March. We made sure that we have our celebrations at a time that is convenient for us. But the key things about our celebration is that, first of all, you know that we come from the land of champions. So we want to start our celebrations with the champions, which will be there on the 18th. So on the 18th, we'll have a road race, and those road races will involve different categories. The elites, which are now our international athletes, will be there on the race. We'll have the university students on the race. We'll have the senior citizens also in the race, and then we'll have the children on the race. So that will be on the 18th, which is a Saturday. And that will be the beginning of the celebrations. Now, come Monday and Tuesday, we'll be having a scientific conference to look at all the things that we have done in the and that would take place on 20th and 21st, which is Monday and Tuesday. Now, as we will be going on with that on Monday and Tuesday, we also have student activities. We'll have students' cultural activities. We'll have students, the activities that the normal students do in terms of choosing Mr. UOE and Miss UOE, Mr. Flex and Miss Cavacious. And they have all those ranges of activities that they are going to have. So that one will be on Monday and Tuesday. Then the students also have some competitive sports, because since we come from the sports region, sports is very dear to us as a team. And so there will be sports. We have the Vice Chancellor's Cup, which has been running for years. So the tournament has already been going on between the different student categories. So during that time, the different schools do compete. And during that time, we'll have the finals, the semi-finals, and also the run-up, the run-up for position 3 and 4. And then the finals will be there on Tuesday. So all that will be depicting what that the students have been doing per se as students. Now come Wednesday, which is now 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, we'll be showing the world and and the region and everybody else in this nation about our programs. What have we been doing at the University of Eldoret in terms of the different departments and the different schools? As you may be told later by the DVC academics, we have about 9 schools, so each and every school will be showcasing what they have been doing, and also the different directorates and the different units, both academic and administration. Now, when it reached on the Thursday, now this is the main day of the celebration. Now, during this main day is an open day. We have invited all our parents of our students. We've invited our alumni, and we have also invited all our stakeholders, because we have a big range of stakeholders, both farmers and both those that we have MOUs with and those we have been working with, which is a big range of stakeholders. So the whole day, that is when also we'll have our special people like our Chancellor, we'll have our council, we'll have and also to celebrate together with our trustees of our endowment fund, and everybody will be there, and our chief guest of the day will embrace the day on that particular day. Now, on the final day, which is Friday 24th, we'll have interdenominational prayers. And all the denominations that are recognized by the university, we have already invited all their leaders, and they will be with us as the students, staff, and everybody else. We thank God for the 10 years of what the Lord has done for us as a University of Eldoret. So in a nutshell, that would give the activities that we will be having during the week. Thank you.
And for avoidance of doubt, everyone is invited in Kenya, right?
Everyone is invited in Kenya, and we are running this invitation to everybody. We have done it through the social media. It has come up in the newspapers, and that's the reason why we chose to be at KBC, because to us this is the national media that we recognize as, when we are talking about national issues like UOE being a public university and a national university, KBC we know is the place to come, because we can communicate to all Kenyans so that they know this is a Kenyan thing, because public universities are not devolved, they are a national institution. So everybody is invited.
And I'll be coming to you back a little bit later to tell us what is more unique now in these celebrations as you hit 10 years. But allow me now to go to Professor Otunga, who is the VC of
DVC.
The DVC in charge of academic and student affairs. Can you tell us something about some of the programs that are offered at the University of Eldoret? What makes them unique, and how many graduates have churned out in the last 10 years that you've been in existence?
Thank you, Benson. At the University of Eldoret, we have 7 schools. Some universities call them faculties. We have a School of Agriculture, we have a School of Business and Economics, we have a School of Education, we have a School of Arts and Human Development, we have a School of Engineering, School of Science, School of Environment and Natural Resources. Those are 7. We used to have 8, but we have sort of merged them to make them more sharp and more market driven. Now, in this program, in these schools, we offer programs in agriculture, programs in science, programs in business, in the various schools, in the specific schools. We train teachers in science, in arts, in agriculture, home economics, home science. We also train scientists in natural resources, in environment, and so forth, both at undergraduate and at graduate level. And for the last 10 years, we have graduated a total of 31,221. Out of those, we have graduated 212 PhD holders, 643 masters, and of course we have also graduated diploma and certificate level at various levels. And we do not really, those diploma and certificate are not across the board. They are only for those popular programs at that level in the specific schools that we train. Thank you.
And now let me go to Professor Kisilu. You're the Director, Industrial Linkages, Partnership and Collaborations. Can you tell us something about your role and the role of directors in the management of the university?
Thank you, Benson. At the University of Eldoret, we have 11 directorates. And the role of directorates generally is to support the schools and the university in general in achieving the core mandate. We have directorate in charge of, for example, ICT, which is a core area that we have, and it supports all round every part of the university, because for us to run our programs effectively and efficiently, we need ICT support that is working properly and well coordinated. We have another directorate in charge of performance contracting and strategic planning. This is a directorate that looks at how we are performing our matters with regard to what we've said to do, how we are going to do it, and the timelines that are involved. And that now leads to the university performing its mandate in a way that is cost effective and also within time. We also have a directorate in charge of quality assurance. This is the directorate that looks at how we do what we've said we are going to do and the processes that are involved in doing what we have to do. And as you will hear, we are ISO certified. We are ISO certified. We are ISO 9001, 2015 certified, and we are in the process of working to become SMS 27001 certified. So generally, quality at the University of Eldoret comes at the fore. It is a major issue. We don't go shortcuts. We do everything the right way so that our students get education that is wholesome, that is all round and quality. We also have the directorate in charge of postgraduate programs. We have postgraduate students at the master's and PhD, and also the postgraduate diploma. These are coordinated from one point. The directorate looks at the admission process, their education process, education and training, their certification process, so that it is done according to the regulations as set out by the Commission for University Education. So I've just given a few examples of directorates, but the core mandate of a directorate is simply to support the university in achievement of its mission and vision and core mandate and values.
Let me now toss this one to Professor Teresa Kenga, being the VC. What makes University of Eldoret stand out? We are looking at the varsities that we have in the country, 39 public and about 31 private, and we have seen in the last couple of months a lot of challenges, and especially when it comes to money. The latest report by Parliament was not quite good, talking about 61 billion in debt, but your university has been able to stand, and now celebrating 10 years, I'm quite sure there are a lot of milestones that you can say, yes, indeed we have done it. What makes UOE stand out?
Thank you very much. What makes UOE stand out, first of all, is the governance structure. UOE is one of the luckiest universities that has had a chancellor for the past 10 years, Professor Mbula Bahemka. Then from the chancellor, we have the governing body. The chancellor is the titular head, and she advises management and the council on how best to run the institution. She gives the management and the council hints on how to carry out resource mobilization, and that has been our strength. We've had a very committed university council which oversees management, because as you know, if management is not oversighted, things can go wrong. It oversights management and it plays a critical role in resource mobilization. Then as a vice chancellor, I've had a very supportive management board. With that supportive management board, we've come up with the very frugal, stringent financial management policies, whereby we only fund activities that are in our strategic plan. By the way, we've had 2 strategic plans, and now we are implementing the second one, 2019-2024 strategic plan, which maps out the route we want to follow in order to make University of Eldoret great or greater. It's already great. Now, why we are standing out financially is that because of that prudent utilization of resources and support from the government and rigorous resource mobilization and also collaboration and partnerships. We have top-notch professors who write top-notch proposals where we get research funds, and from there the university is able to get what we call A&A to top up with the little that we are getting from the government. And I would proudly like to say that University of Eldoret, as much as we are struggling, we are not among those universities that owe statutory charges or staff any monies. We are up to date with the payments so long as the government has facilitated us. And we must say our books in that line are clean, but we are not saying we are happy with it. What we are saying, we will do more if we got more funding. But it's just prudent financial management and proper governance structures in place that have helped us reach where we are.
Indeed, and a lot of universities are struggling, and some have even decided to look for alternative sources of finance. We've seen more universities even start apple farming to supplement the money or the capitation that they get from the government. What is your university doing to enhance the meager resources that the government is sending to your institution?
Thank you. The university has a number of income generating units, and we've established a directorate of IGU, in short, that's income generating unit, that is coordinating all those units to make sure that they are running in a profitable manner. We are coming up with a company which will register. We have a farm. We have some products that we are selling, and especially in the fish fingerlings and the animals in the farm, the production, that is the cereal production in the farm, and many other income generating activities that we are coming up with, and we hope we'll break even. But above all, we've established an endowment fund. That fund is there for people to come and endow the institution to assist the needy student, or to assist this institution put up some infrastructure, or the needy student complete their studies in good time. Thank you.
Yes, and a little bit later you'll be telling us how students are coping, because at the end of the day, the harsh economic times and also there is no money, also students have been affected as well. But let me touch on Rabulu. What is one thing special that is going to happen in this year's celebrations? 10 years is quite a milestone.
Thank you so much, Ben. 10 years is quite a milestone, and for us as the University of Eldoret, from what the VC described about our history, it's really a milestone that we would like to celebrate. And the most important key thing that we have been doing, maybe before I come to your question, is to address what happens in our region, because to us, being in the North Rift, in the breadbasket of the country, is a very important thing for us on food security and food and nutritional security. And our School of Agriculture is very strong in that. And as we speak, we have even several kind of innovations that have been, we have got through that. I mean, we have come through the School of Agriculture, and even some of our staff have received some international awards in this area of food security. Secondly, there are even some products that we have been produced which are already patented and are still going through the different steps so that they can become easily consumable in the markets. We have also made sure that, we have also come up with several varieties of, let's say, like beans, the different dolichos. And given that we are in the area where there's wheat production, we have produced some 2 varieties of wheat, which are currently being planted by the farmers. That is the Eldo Mavuno and Eldo Baraka by our scientists. We have some researches that are going on around the barley production. We have different potatoes, varieties of potatoes. Some of them were released into the market just recently, about 2 months ago. And so it's special when we talk about the food security, because we know the breadbasket of the country is there in the North Rift. Secondly, as I just told you about, we are in the land of champions. We have a lot of research and activities with our neighboring counties. And we already have MOUs with them, like Uasin Gishu county, Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi County, Turkana, and all those counties that are around us. So that what we are doing in collaboration with our local communities and our local county government, so that we can spur development, because as a university, that's the role we can do. To come back to food security, as a university, we have been mounting what we call agribusiness trade fair every year. And this is always meant to kind of pass on the technologies on food production and agricultural food production. So it's a situation where we normally bring all the key players in the agribusiness at the national level, and we bring them to our university, and we liaise with our farmers that we are working with through our outreach center. We have an outreach center that we use to reach out to all our farmers within the region. And so during this time, we bring all these farmers, like the last agribusiness trade fair that we conducted in September. I think we had almost close to 10,000 farmers coming in, and those are real farmers. And that's the difference between our agribusiness trade fair and the ASK show, because ours is basically for farmers. We bring them there free of charge, and then they are trained on issues. So what is unique is those areas where we are well endowed, and we would like the world to know, because as a University of Eldoret, we have not been making noise about what we are doing. But there's a lot that we have been doing, and this is the time we feel during the 10 years that people should come up and see what we are doing. But we are very strong in those areas of sports science, and we are actually developing a whole school of sports science, and we're already working. Our curriculum is already ready, and there are several other things that are going on, having also linkages with some of our international partners, so that we can contribute specifically to the whole nation on that area. That aside, University of Eldoret is unique because you remember when Moi University was to be created as the second university. The programs that came from Nairobi University, which is forestry, was brought to Moi University, and this is at the University of Eldoret because we were the science campus of Moi University. So we are special in that area. Come to environment. The first School of Environment was started in Moi University, and it moved to our university before even the others in maybe Kenyatta University or Nairobi University came in. So we are also very strong in that area. We were the first university with the different curriculum of natural resources. And all this curriculum of natural resources of all the universities that came from Moi, and there's very many of them, all of them started operating with our curriculum, particularly when you come to forestry, when it comes to wildlife management and tourism, when it comes to fisheries and aquatic sciences. And so you'll find that outside in all the counties and the national level and almost in every sector, the private sector and the research sector, our students, alumni, are the ones manning the fisheries industry in this nation, the blue economy. Whether it is the other universities or it is the research institutions, both freshwater and the marine environment, we are the people who started it. So there are so many fasts that we have. A School of Agriculture, the same. This is the same school which was in Moi University. So just what the VC said in her beginning remarks, that we are a young university of 10 years, but at the same time, we are also old because of our programs that we inherited from the Moi University are old and strong, and we have people. And that's the reason why we have a lot of, most of our scientists receiving awards in the different sectors.
Indeed. And talking about awards, let me speak to Professor Ruth. You're in charge of academics and student affairs, and how do you ensure that we have quality programs? I'm talking about this because I've seen in your social media spaces, a lot of your students have gotten accolades even outside the country. Tell us about the quality of education at your institution.
Thank you, Benson. Our academic programs are actually processed very carefully, in the sense that we begin at the departmental level where the lecturer is when we want to develop a program or even to review what is existing. And from the department, then it's escalated to the school level where now more people come in and input ideas that are required to make those programs rich. In terms of even comparing with the same programs in different universities. And then from there, these programs are approved by Senate. Senate is the main body that looks at academic programs. So if a program goes through Senate, then it has been processed at that lower level very carefully. And at that departmental level, they also attend Senate to make sure that should there be anything that they need to add at the approval level, then they add. Beyond that, we take our programs to Commission for University Education for accreditation. And peer reviewers go through those programs, and eventually they are accredited before we actually put them to the students. We implement them in the classroom. Now, besides that, we have a modern library that supports all those programs in the university, and we have the Odell Directorate that helps in the implementation of these programs to the level that was proposed by the makers of those programs. We have learning management systems where we make sure that if the face-to-face is not adequate, then they go online and ensure that those programs are properly processed. Then we have international collaborations with the other universities. So apart from processing those programs that way, we also benchmark with other universities to ensure that our programs meet the international standards, so that that benchmarking helps us develop that confidence that when we take out our products, who are the students, they are out with the relevant information that is required, and they can survive anywhere, here in Kenya or beyond our borders. Thank you.
Indeed. And now let's look at technical education. And I'm quite sure you're the man in charge.
Yeah.
What makes this program unique? Because looking at your institution, you have a very strong, solid background in science-related courses.
Thank you, Benson. Allow me to go back in history and mention that TVET in Kenya is founded at the University of Eldoret. That is the source of all developments that we have in TVET in this country and in the region. The program that we have in technology education serves the whole country at the different levels that we have. It began at Moi University, based at the University of Eldoret now, which was Chepkoilel campus, and it began in 1989, and I'm lucky to have been among the first cohort that was admitted into that program. This program trains trainers, teachers, and instructors for all TVET institutions. So through the teacher, we are able to reach everybody. And as you know, there is no way we are going to develop in this country without a strong foundation in TVET. So generally, we produce teachers, trainers, and instructors for the different levels. For example, at the university level, we've developed staff for even other universities. The program is running at Moi University. The lecturers of that program have come from the University of Eldoret. They graduated with their PhDs and their masters from the University of Eldoret. They are among the number that you heard the DVC mentioning. Secondly, we also produce, even for others, we have produced dons for Dedan Kimathi, which is running the program, the Meru University of Science and Technology, which is running the program, Muranga University, which is running the program, Kirinyaga University, which is running the program. So the lecturers of the other, for the other universities have come through the University of Eldoret. At the national level, we have the national polytechnics. We service, let's say, more than 70% of the trainers in the national polytechnics, and you know there are 11 of them, and even the Kenya School of TVET. So generally, the University of Eldoret has produced trainers to train at the level of the national polytechnics, the 11 of them, and even the Kenya School of TVET. At the technical and vocational colleges, which have been were called technical training institutes, we also produce trainers for the different levels. So we produce people who can train at the national level, at the university, at the higher national diploma, at the diplomas, and even the lower level, the certificates. We also train instructors for the lowest level, the vocational training centers, formerly called village polytechnics, because everybody should be included. This country cannot develop when we are leaving out some group without moving with it. So generally, the University of Eldoret is the source, and it is leading in research in this area because it has the highest concentration of the resource, the human resource. It has the highest concentration of the human resource in this country. Beyond Kenya, let me mention that we are also training for the region. We have developed lecturers for the Chambogo University in Uganda. We have also developed lecturers for the Swaziland institution. So generally, the department and the school and the university is producing human resource that is so critical for the development of this country. And we are looking at those areas that matter. When somebody is able to fix your house, somebody is able to fix your electricity, somebody is able to fix the car that you came with, those are the kind of trainers we are producing to go and work with the youth so that the country develops. So that is basically what we are doing, and we are doing it nationally and regionally to develop human resource that fits into that space. Thank you.
And you've mentioned a lot of things. Let's hear from the VC in terms of all these things will need resources. Yes. And of course, if you're introducing a new program, there are a lot of challenges that come with that as well. And being a solid case of education sector in the country, I remember I was in high school about 24 years back, and a lot of students wanted to go to Chepkoilel. That is what, the moment that you mentioned Chepkoilel is now the one that became Eldoret University. That is where I've now been able to connect the dots. Yes. Madam VC, looking at some of the challenges that you've been able to overcome and some of the challenges that are still with you, which are some of these challenges?
Thank you very much. May I also say that I visited Belgium, the embassy, and I was so surprised to get the agricultural attaché there was a student from University of Eldoret. So indeed, we are producing global leaders. And there are so many others in the states. There are many challenges as we speak right now, mostly financial challenges. But what we are saying is that they can be overcome if we come together and reason together. I know the Ministry of Education has taken up this issue on challenges facing universities. A number of proposals have been made, and we are waiting. And also there's the Education Working Party, appointed by the Working Party on Education, appointed by the President. They are working on that, and I'm sure all those challenges were channeled to them, and they will come up with solutions. We'll work together to come up with solutions. But I would like also to add that in terms of policy formulation, it can be a challenge. There will be a need for institutions to adopt evolving policies. The policies that applied 10 years ago may not apply right now. I don't want to go into specifics, like the financial policies. They may not apply right now. There's a need to really be radical and change some of the policies. The other thing I realized is automation. There will be need to automate almost all the functions of the universities in order to enhance service delivery to our clients who are students, the students who are stakeholders number one. We at University of Eldoret, we started automating in 2014. It's a long journey, but the fruits, some of the fruits can be seen from the financial stability that you are talking about. Once you are automated, it means there's no human intervention anywhere. And you're sure when the students will go and pay fees in the bank straight away, it will reflect in the university's accounts and in the finance, and everything will be harmonized. So automation is very important. We received a memo yesterday or the other day, a circular from the CS of ICT that we should automate all our processes. We are at 70% the last time it was surveyed, and it's clear we'll push to 30%, the remaining 30%, to make sure we offer seamless services to our staff and students. Then, just to boast a little bit, as we are here, 2 of our staff are in the Presidential Working Party on Education. Next to me is Professor Kitainge here. He's a member. You're in charge of?
The Presidential Task Force?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a member of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform.
Education Reform.
And I'm in 2 committees. The Committee of Research, where we are collecting all information nationally and internationally to develop and make our education system to do that which it's supposed to do. And I'm in charge, I'm in the TVET. TVET committee.
That's a good thing, because there are a lot of issues that we also will look at, the politics surrounding the university education, because I'm looking at some of the issues that have been brought about by even members, talking about a push by National Assembly Education Committee to work closely with Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms to have a look, revisit some of the cumbersome laws that affect the university. But hold the thought, we will be coming back a little bit later. Let's first of all have a quick break. And also,
can you just allow me to give the second name of the member?
Have to, the second name.
Professor Some, who is the vice chair of that committee.
Okay.
From University.
It's from University of Eldoret.
Okay.
Yes.
That's an interesting one. And also when we come back, someone was a student in that university, now is the Dean of Education in the same university, among a number of other roles that he was given. We will be talking to the Dean of Education, who happens to be Hosea Kiplagat, who is also here in studio. But first things first, let's have a quick break, then we'll be right back.
dust settled on rigorous campaigns, Kenyans are waiting for elected leaders to deliver on their pledges.
To have clean, accessible drinking water across the county.
The hustle of everyday Kenyans is encouraged and rewarded.
Operationalizing Kerugoya Level 5 Hospital.
A functioning school feeding program.
But how have the leaders performed so far?
The percentage of A's in 2021 were more than those ones in 2022.
We will not politicize security, because if we do so, we endanger the country.
Every week, we bring you an honest assessment of the national and county governments.
One of the best ways of accelerating national development is through collaboration with county governments.
The Scorecard, every Tuesday at 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
I was part of the team ilitumwa to take out Burhan. Nilikaa for 5 years, nika study the man. All I ask is you let me right my wrongs and give me an opportunity to bring Burhan down for good. Senior Sergeant Farah, aka Stingray. Corporal Ibrahim, aka Mongoose. Corporal Katana, aka Panther. PC Kibet, aka
University.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We do this for honor.
Yeah.
Our loved ones, our family, and our country. 1, 2, 3.
Kama imefika ile kwa kubeba bidhaa kama kawa kuna maswali.
Miguel, are you hiding from me? He made a fool out of me. I thought he was my boyfriend, but no. He was going out with one of my friends as well, and at the same time.
What? No. Sorry, Marisol, but it's hard for me to believe what you just said.
Well, since we're talking about the past and about that missing boy, if my calculations are correct, that boy would actually be about the same age as you are.
We can't be friends, just like we used to be when we were young and when we didn't used to fight a lot and we could hang out together. Ruben, I really want to be your friend.
Put your rage aside and forget the rancor. Because it will end up destroying you as a whole, darling. I beg you.
Welcome back. Just in case you joined us, this is News Checker program that is earmarked to ensure that we keep you afloat with all the latest happening around you. And today we are looking at matters university education, and we are honored to be hosting the top-notch officials of University of Eldoret, including the Deputy Vice Chancellor, where we are talking about their 10 years journey that they have been in as a chartered university. And I have been hosting Professor Teresa Akenga, who is the VC. We also have Professor Ruth Otunga, who is the DVC in charge of academic and student affairs. Professor Philip Raburu, who is the DVC planning, research and extension. And now we are hosting Dr. Hosea Kiplagat, who is the Dean School of Education. He's also an alumni. That's quite encouraging. And also he is in charge of quality assurance. Karibu sana, Daktari.
Thank you.
Perhaps you can tell us something about University of Eldoret, being a student, and now you are working for the same institution. Tell us about your role.
Thank you so much, Mr. Njue. My life at the University of Eldoret started in the year 2000 when I came in as an undergraduate student. And a few years down the line, I became a student leader in the university. And later when I finished, the University of then more University retained me as a staff. And this was out of the potentials they had seen in me. And later when we became a University of Eldoret, I want to say that I've grown. And even with the new leadership that came in, it was able also to recognize that. And within the last 10 years, I've become a head of department, the immediate head of department, technology education. And then last year is when I was made the Dean School of Education. Thank you.
Congratulations, my brother.
Thank you.
And before we went for that break, apologies, we had to really go for that break. We are looking at some of the challenges that you have had to deal with in the last 10 years you've been. And I'm quite sure also the infrastructure challenge has been quite something, because a number of universities have been chartered from another bigger university, and now they stand on their own. Kindly tell us about that.
Thank you, Mr. Benson. I would like to say that just like any other newly chartered universities, University of Eldoret has faced challenges, more so when we talk about infrastructure. In 2013, the infrastructure was bare minimal, and really the face of the university was not so good. But we sat down with the then council and the management and came up with a strategic plan, as I told you, on how we can, first of all, improve the face of the university so that you can attract partners. If you are not so attractive, you may not get your partners to work with, to collaborate with. And also the students' infrastructure and the staff and the learning facilities were not up to standard. But we embarked on that using various resources. We have really turned around the face of that in university. We have put up new lecture halls. We have put up, we have repaired hostels. We have put up lanes, entry lanes. We have managed to secure the land of the university, the main campus. And above all, I started from scratch to put up the School of Engineering. The EBK, that is the Engineering Board of Kenya, requires that the schools be accredited. 1 year they came and looked at what we had, and they said, just close this school and take these students to other universities. And we went back and negotiated with them. We gave them timelines. We went to the government and gave the justification for the need for the School of Engineering, because Kenya as a country still needs engineers in various sectors. And we had to put up the School of Engineering using partly government-funded resources and internally generated resources, and even equipped that school. That is my best baby in that school, because I had to protect it, or else it would have been aborted. And it is through this school that we are carrying out some of the renovations of the infrastructure in the university. Construction of our lanes, and an innovation during COVID-19, the challenge we faced. COVID-19, nobody anticipated, even in our strategic plans, nobody anticipated such a pandemic. Nobody budgeted for such. But we had to come up and continue, re-engineer our business. We used the School of Engineering, the School of Science. The School of Engineering came up with the foot pedaling hand washing machines, which are very unique, an innovation that we have already sent for patenting. And with COVID-19, we didn't have resources. And I must tell you, nobody gave us an extra shilling. But we used our own savings to make sure that we start off our Odell directorate, so that we shift our programs to online. With that online, again, we face the challenge of access. There are some students who could not access. So we have come up now with what we call blended learning. And I want to say, for us, COVID was a silver lining on the sky, on the cloud, because it made us think outside the box. We were able to re-engineer our businesses. Even our meetings, as everybody will say, were virtual. Our graduations were virtual. And that saves a lot of resources when you compare to when you do your business on face-to-face. And up to now, we are still doing virtual meetings, so to save on time and also on resources. So the other challenge after COVID is that the medical expenses just ballooned, because you realize with the anybody could get that virus, and as a university, we could not abandon that person, and the treatment of the virus was a bit expensive, depending to what extent it had gone into the body of the person. But we committed as a university, and we were able to use the little resources we had to be able to take care of our staff who got infected, despite the little resources. And we are happy some of them are very, very much alive with us. And I can give an alive example. Professor Aburu here. He was one of those. But the university had to go all the way to make sure that all staff are taken care of. Thank you.
Yeah, and Professor Aburu, looking at you're in charge of planning and also planning research. I remember Timothy Kipchumba, who is the MP for Marakwet West, faulted the government in terms of the tax laws touching on university, and especially when it comes to importing of equipment. He said that he is a member of the Education Committee, and said that the government should not be taxing university to import equipment that they're going to be using either for research, either for other purposes. And not only that, he added that some of the laws that are governing the university are a bit rigid, and pointed out internationalization, where he says that when lecturers from other countries have to come here in the country and maybe be lecturers in some of the university, there are a number of cumbersome laws they have to go through, which makes it a little bit tedious. I'd like you to touch on that.
Thank you so much. This is an area that is dear to our hearts, and we really would like to communicate even to at the national level, that it is really an area which is very, the area of tax, particularly taxes when it comes to infrastructure. The universities really demand and collaborates a lot. For example, our university, we have almost around 94 collaborations, the bulk of them being international. And most of these collaborations are targeted to assist our researchers. And there are collaborations through research. There are some collaborations through different programs that maybe we offer collaboratively. And it goes without saying, from the history that the VC had given, that we came from a teachers training college. So we actually inherited the infrastructure of the teachers training college. Unlike some of our colleagues, which were other colleague universities that we were chartered together, who were previously technical institutions, which have had a lot of infrastructure in terms of in the teaching, in the laboratory, and things like that. And so we started from the scratch. And what the VC has also said about the School of Engineering, most of the equipment we required were very expensive equipment. Some we could get from the partnerships that we developed with some of our partners internationally. So I really would like to appeal here, actually, even to the government on that something should be done on making sure that the universities import some of this equipment. It's not basically importing per se, but also to allow some of this equipment to come without being taxed. Because an equipment that comes to the university cannot be compared with an equipment of an individual who orders an equipment. Because if it is a research equipment, most of them are very expensive. When they come, it may be used by students for even 5 to 10 years. Now, all those students are going to fit into the what? Into the development of the nation. But we are experiencing a lot of problems in that area because some of the equipment which some well-wishers have donated even free of charge, when it comes here, the price of, the taxation may be even more expensive than the price it was used to buy those equipment. And so it affects the research infrastructure. And it also affects the infrastructure that we use to offer our academic programs. So I would say that it is an area of concern, and really we need to look at it so that we can assist, because these are national institutions developing manpower for the same country. As I told you earlier, the number of alumni we have that is now serving the government, they are enormous and they are in different sectors doing the role of the government. So I agree with you, and it's an area of concern. Thank you so much. And
talking of alumnus, Daktari, karibu sana.
Thank you.
And you were a student leader there, and also now you are an administrator. Kindly, what has molded you to where you are? You know, we have seen a lot of varsities here in the country, Solidarity Forever, and we've seen them riot, but we haven't had these cases at the University of Eldoret.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Njue. I remember when I was a student leader, one time when I faced management, I used to complain so much at first.
The same management that is right here.
But one time I was told that always you need to appreciate first. And I started doing that. And before I presented the complaints of the students, I would start by appreciating for what the management has done. And all along, I want to say that even having crossed now to the side of the staff, despite the challenges that could always be there on the ground, I will always find something to appreciate first. And I think this is one of the attributes that has made me to grow to where I am today. Yes, so I think this is also something I want to encourage other leaders who are coming up in university as student leaders, that always let them find something to appreciate the institutions before they demand some of the things.
And somebody would ask also, why would you recommend students, any student, to come to UAE?
Okay, thank you so much. One of the things I really appreciate at University of Eldoret is nurturing talents, and besides the leadership abilities that I had, I know University of Eldoret also recognizes the best students, and sometimes where it has the capacity to employ them, the university has always continued to do that. And I'm a witness of this, and I also have such students who have been absorbed in my school, and they are doing very well, and they are championing the vision of the university. And I think this is something that when it is embraced in other institutions, the institutions will be able to do well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. You wanted to add something, VC?
Maybe DVC ASA can just add something on student leaders.
Yes,
we have maintained the peace.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Njue. When the students join the University of Eldoret, we have rules and regulations that we give them in a package, how they are going to live in the university and how they are going to do their exams and how they are, because there are no bells, how they are going to attend their lectures and so on. And we take time during orientation to explain to them, and we encourage them to ask questions. So those are the first things that we give to them when they come, and then they go into their schools and they take their programs led by those rules and regulations governing their studies, as well as those rules governing their conduct, their behavior. And so we follow that. We make sure that they are following. And in my docket as DVC Academic and Students Affairs, by the way, I've been in the university for close to 40 years. I was the first PhD graduate in Moi University when it started. And therefore, I've been in the system, and I sort of understand how the students psyche. So all these people, colleagues who say they went through the university, they were my students. So over time, I have understood the students working and their demands and so on. We have the student leadership, students council, and the students elect their own, their students to lead them. And these student leaders, we give them leadership trainings. Immediately they come to office. Apart from those general rules and regulations, we give them leadership and bonding sessions among themselves and with management, so that they understand how the rules of the university, how the university runs, finances, and all those. And we invite all members of management to talk to them. And then we allow these students to attend school boards to understand the problems at the school level. And they also attend Senate, that top organ that I talked about. And it's in the Universities Act that they should do that. So we have taken the Universities Act and implemented. So they attend Senate. So all the issues to do with the academics, and except when we are discussing marks, they get out. Otherwise, they participate in all that. Besides, when the students have erred in terms of behavior, conduct, and so on, student leaders are represented in those committees that deal with their behavior and so on. And so these student leaders have a chance to go and explain to the rest. If we go this way, then there's a problem. And that's why, as you were saying, you have not had a lot of University of Eldoret sort of information goes to the students. The students' affairs, academic and students' affairs. The students' affairs in my division is led by a dean of students. And the dean of students is like now the father to all the students, all the counseling, all the support, work-study programs that we offer in the university, which are done through a committee that vets those students who qualify to be supported through some kind of funding, some bursaries and so on, through the Dean of Students office. So the needy students have to go through the Dean of Students. And then we have also bursaries.
But you've talked about needy students, and talking about post-COVID and the drought situation. It has exacerbated things, and there are some even students who cannot afford a meal, but they have to be in class and they have to do well. Are you addressing these issues?
Yes, we do. Through the bursaries, we have a committee that vets students who are really needy, and you will see them. They will even come to my office. They will go to the VC's office and say, I've not eaten, and I have to go to class. So through the Dean of Students, we sort of find a way of addressing that through that committee to vet, and because there are some who can come and just pretend. So they have to be vetted to be given that support. We have Ratansi, for example, giving us a fund every year, but also through the Students' Council. When they do their budget, we have Somesha Kitty as well as support for the needy students. So some money, always something like 600 or so, 600,000 is added to the Ratansi to ensure that these students are supported. The needy students are supported. Besides that, the university has a subsidized cafeteria system where students can buy cheap food. Even those who have been supported, those who are needy, will pay a little and use that money for a long time. And that's what the university is doing. And after COVID, of course, there's been a lot of issues, and we attend to them. So long as a student comes forward, and sometimes even they come with their parents and say, I have brought my child, I have paid fees, but I don't have the upkeep for this student. And within the university we have hostels, which are a little cheaper than out there, because out there they have to pay every month. But within the university, there is a consolidated kind of rent, which a student will pay once in a semester. So we arrange in such a way that we vet them and give them the accommodation within. So those are some of the support strategies that we use. And at the same time, the issue of not adjusting well to their studies. Within the Dean of Students office, we have the counseling services, guidance and counseling services, and we have also trained fellow students. We call them peer counselors. And so they are able to reach those students who have issues, to be able to report them, and then we address them. Whether it is upkeep or psychological problems or educational, where they are not adjusting and so on. So we are able to reach them through these channels. And we also have staff who have volunteered to be student counselors, because we don't have that large number of counselors who can take care of our students. We have close to 13,000 students. Those are many. They are at the main campus and at the town campus. So there are many strategies that we have developed to ensure that we support our students.
And let me toss this question to Madam VC, because this is something that is affecting a number of institutions in the country. Mental illness. We also have some students engaged in crime, and the latest one being the recruitment of LGBTQs in university. This is something even the interdenominational conference, Bishop Oginde mentioned a few weeks ago, talking about university and high school being fertile training grounds for some of these behaviors that we are seeing in the country.
Thank you very much. Post-COVID has had its own issues, and mostly I want to agree with you. There have been mental issues, illnesses with the students, but as my DBC said, that we have the Dean of Students and peer counselors, and we encourage all students who are facing any issues to report to the Dean of Students or to the nearest officer to them. We also have religious groups where some of us are even patrons, or members of management are patrons. Again, through that, we are able to see a student who is facing such a problem, and they are able to be helped. At the university, we have a very vibrant health clinic, well established, headed by a medical doctor who can easily follow up such cases. And if they need referrals, they are normally given those referrals. So we have structures in place, more so student-to-student counseling. And this mental illness issue became so rampant. Immediately we resumed after COVID. We could see many cases that were leading to that. But now if you check, they have reduced, because we were able to point them out and even bring outside counselors from outside to talk to them, to encourage them. Now the issue of LGBT, whatever, I can't even pronounce that one, it's a bit tricky. And you can see it's being discussed in the whole region. Even the other day I heard in our neighboring country, they have put a motion in parliament.
In Uganda?
In Uganda.
Yes.
They are going to ban, and actually the stringent measures are going to be taken. As a university, we don't encourage that. What we do now, we've sensitized our students. We've encouraged the student leaders, if they observe any strange behavior, let them escalate them to the relevant authorities. And that's why even we had to come up with a dress code. You remember we were in the public because we implemented a dress code,
yes,
of which we didn't implement. It was already there in the policy. It's just that we felt now we must reinforce it, because we observed things were not going the right way. And now if you come to the University of Eldoret, you will be so encouraged to see how students have dressed. We are having this cultural week, and you know, in some cultures the dressing is may go against our dressing code. The students have had to request for permission to be allowed to dress in their cultural attire. And you said, yes, the group that will be participating will be the only one allowed to dress in the cultural attire. So we still reinforce that there's need for proper dressing and this need to keep vigilant to make sure that our students are not compromised on this issue of LGBTQ.
For avoidance of doubt, the issue of the dress code was embraced fully by the students because it has already started to generate discussion.
Yeah, from what I gathered, almost 99% of the students supported that, and they have embraced it. They are dressing in a very decent way. We are not saying dress in a very expensive manner, but very decently dressed. Thank you.
Let me come to Professor Philip. And in your division, you've talked about even you have patents that the institution has been able to get. That just shows you the level of technology and innovation that you have. And it's something that was faulted by the Education Committee in Parliament, that a lot of universities are just clung to whatever they were doing 10, 20, 30 years, and there's no innovation and not just trying something new. Can you tell us about research and some things you're doing in your docket?
Thank you so much, Ben, for that. We are doing a lot of research, as I did say earlier, and most of these research activities end up in innovations. And we are doing things differently from the way we were doing them before, because we gather, you can remember that when we started with our motto, and our motto is knowledge and innovation. I mean, we are interested in knowledge and innovation. So that is what we are nurturing. And so we have been nurturing a lot of innovation at different levels. And from our students, when they do their special research projects, particularly the undergraduates in their 4th year, we now look at what is it there that looks innovative, that can be promoted. Then we look at their master's thesis. We are looking at that and to see what is new there. But apart from that, we have dedicatedly, under the Directorate of Research and Innovations, we have appointed the Intellectual Property Management Office. And now that office is dedicated to looking at the issue of innovations, and they regularly organize innovation weeks within the university, and they look at the different innovations that our students are coming up with, and they escalate them to the national level when we have the National Innovation Weeks and the Nairobi Innovation Weeks, which we have been participating in. So as I really say that there are several things that our researchers have come up with, like one of our very senior researchers, she's called Professor Kinyua. She was awarded, she has been awarded several awards, but lately she got an international award on trying to come up with the different varieties using the recent technologies, atomic energy technologies. She's in the School of Agriculture. And apart from her, there's also some people working with her in that particular area, and other people in different areas which have come up with the different innovations that we had already said. Now, the one thing that we need to highlight here is that just as much as we have several innovations, making that innovations to be like what we talked about, the making science to give us more money, it takes time because it requires a lot of development, a lot of mentoring of those students as we go ahead. Currently, as a young university, we have different networks with different partners who we are working with to help us in that aspect of trying to mentor and incubate some of our youths to be able to be useful members of the society. So apart from that, there are other projects that are helping us to mentor, like in the field of agriculture and fisheries. We have several youths that we are mentoring, and not only our students here, it also involves the students from the community. As I said, that our focus is North Rift in some of these areas. We have students we are mentoring on dairy production, on crop production, on mushroom production, and on poultry production, and also on fisheries production. So these are some of the things that we are doing, and we can say that we are not doing things the same way, but this space requires a lot of money and requires a lot of equipment, which we are trying to get. But as at now, we are not stopping, because we are trying to make use of our linkages. And currently, there are even a few linkages that we have and collaborations with the industry to make sure that some of the things our students and our youths, which we are mentoring from within the region, have done and they want to escalate them, we normally try to see how we can link them with some of these our partners who can help them to make sure that they come to a stage where these students can employ themselves and can utilize their innovations. Thank you.
And Professor Ruth, looking at internationalization, it's something that I had mentioned. It's something that was also pointed out by one of the members of Parliament from the Education Committee on the internationalization of your courses as well, and also tell us how you do help students who are on other programs. We also have students who have exchange programs with some universities as well, and also how you do help students to actualize their studies. There are some who are on part-time classes. There are others who are learning from distance learning.
Okay. At the University of Eldoret, drawing from the programs that I gave, particularly the ones in science, natural resource, agriculture, we have the academic mobility programs in the region. For example, the Roof Forum, and we have a lot of students from the region and beyond the region. We have students from Uganda. Those come to the natural resource programs as well as technology education. And in fact, the government of Uganda gave us a total of 11 students to train in this academic year, beginning this academic year 2022-2023. And we have that whole group who are working in Uganda, but they needed them to train, and they have come to our university. That is part of internationalization. We have students from Rwanda, DRC, Congo, Malawi, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Sudan, Ethiopia, and so forth. So our programs are attractive to that level. And in the same way, on those academic mobility programs, we also take our students to those universities. South Africa, they go to study there. But we found, I was talking to my colleague, we found that we are training more from the region than giving out our students. I think it's because of our programs. They do them locally in our university, and so very few go out to study. Now, those who come in on those programs, there's an agreement between the universities on those academic exchange programs. They come and they do some work for us, especially a postgraduate. They do some teaching for us, and we waive the accommodation part of it, which means it's a give and take. So they give us a service, we use them to some extent, as well as they give us. I mean, they do their studies, and their government support them in terms of tuition and so on. And so in that way, we support them to complete their studies. And by the way, when they have come from those countries, they really want to finish and go back. Most of them are working class. For our own students who graduate within the university, we identify the best students. And we have done that, and that's why you have heard two of our colleagues talking of having been students, and they have come back, and they are now lecturers. And actually, they play double role. They can go down to the students and explain to them how our university works. At the same time, they can operate as professors of the university. So those best students we identify, we support them. We give them a staff training program, which is, they get in at the lowest level of graduate assistant, which means they are working with mentoring professors to grow them in their areas of specialization. And we give them, they get admitted immediately in the postgraduate. So we identify them at undergraduate, then they get admitted for masters. We, being GS, they are on a small salary, on some salary, not small compared to their level. So they are able to pay for their fees and complete their masters and be absorbed later as members of staff. So we do the staff development program through our core mandate that way. Thank you.
Professor Teresa, there were calls that some universities had even to close down some of their satellite colleges, and there were calls for merging of some of the university to make one strong university. I would like to pick your mind on that.
Okay, thank you. First of all, the issue of closing satellite campuses. Indeed, many of them had expanded, many universities had expanded, and according to the analysis that was found, they were not making profit. Instead, they were pumping in resources into those satellite campuses. Then also, the quality of education in those campuses, as per the commission, was not up to standard. But I would like to say that as University of Eldoret, our council, the founding council of University of Eldoret, under chairmanship of Professor Lesena, really gave direction. And that's why I said governance is very important. The direction was very clear. No expansion. First of all, consolidate. Now, after we had consolidated, we got a go-ahead to start a campus in Eldoret town, because University of Eldoret is 8 kilometers away from Eldoret, along Ziwa Road. But it was felt we cannot be University of Eldoret and be 8 kilometers away. Our presence must be felt in that town, and we were given a go-ahead to establish that campus, which has been accredited, inspected by the commission, and we have been given the go-ahead to continue running the campus. And the campus is serving the community around, those who cannot come all the way, especially after work. So we have only one campus. Then the next was, Nairobi is the center of everything. We must have a liaison office here, and if there will be need, we might grow later on into a campus. And now we have our liaison office here on Pension Towers, 12th floor, where we do everything. Like before we came here, we had to meet in that office. We meet our stakeholders there. We do resource mobilization from that liaison office. So those are the two kind of campuses that the university has. And this is because of the wisdom of the council that was there then. Now, when you come to mergers, indeed there was this issue of merging, and there was benchmarking from Kigali, from Rwanda. May I say I've been a lecturer in Rwanda, Kigali Institute of Science and Technology, but now it is a constituent, it's a college of Rwanda University because of that merging. And there was that issue of merging, and I think it's still under debate. You know the reactions it received here and there. There are some people who are for it, there are others who are not for it. But what we are saying is that it will be good to strengthen whatever is there. Then from there, think of expanding, because from our view, if you merge two sick institutions, will you be solving any problem or making it even harder? So there's a need for proper thinking, strategic thinking and planning when it comes to mergers. And it's just not for the university only, it's a national issue. Thank you.
And Daktari, I'm quite sure you have had a lot of questions from people, and especially the young ones, on mentorship, because looking at your journey, starting as a student, rising all the way to student council, the student leader, and also being a staff and now a dean, Kindly touch on that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Njue. What I will say on that is that as a university, and maybe the position I sit as the dean, is that university has established what we call academic advisors in our departments. And these are people who work through the journey of academic students in their specialized areas. And we have seen even this one help us to continuously even improve in the graduation rate that we have had for our students. So I know that the student cannot manage alone. And besides that, also academic advisors, we also use class representatives who also work closely with their colleagues as peers to help them soldier on through the journey of academic. So I want to say that this is something that has worked. And also as departments and the schools, we regularly check on the impact of this out of our own regular meetings every month. And advisors give their reports on how they are working with the students. And this one has had a ripple effect even up to now the highest level because of the impact that the support has had on the students. Thank you.
And Prof, I'm quite sure you have a last word on why this time round this is going to be the biggest event of University of Eldoret as we wrap up.
Okay, thank you so much, Ben, for that question. Definitely this is going to be one of our biggest events in this time. However, as I said earlier, the University of Eldoret always have the biggest, an event every year, the Agribusiness Trade Fair. But that is a CSR activity where we are giving back to the to the communities around us to make sure that we are promoting agriculture and food security issues. Now, this is a big event because in the 10 years, we have planned, but sometimes when we planned, we could have maybe parents coming and having an open day. That's when COVID struck. So we have not been together very much. But this time, this is big because a whole week we have activities where our students are going to showcase the things they are doing to the public. Each and every department, each and every school is going to showcase the things they're doing also in public. And we are also bringing all the religious leaders and all the different denominations that are recognized by the university to come together. And for a long time, since COVID also, we have been having graduations through virtual graduations. And so we have never had one activity that is bringing all of us together. So this is a very big event that we want really to, as we wind up, to invite everyone to come so that we can be able to celebrate together. And celebrating, we are not celebrating an individual, we are celebrating the achievements of the university because, as I said earlier, the university is a national institution. And so we want to appeal to all our stakeholders, starting with our students, the student body, all our staff at the University of Eldoret, all our stakeholders that we are collaborating with in different ways, all our leaders, our council who are managing us to make sure things go on well, and everyone else, because we reach out to so many people through our collaboration and the CSR activities. And we are not stopping only at the university. We are also invited several high schools because there are several high schools who normally come to learn from us. And the number is very big and it goes way back, all the way to Western province, not the Western, let's say like Kakamega area, Bungoma area, Kisumu area, all the way to Turkana.
Okay.
They have students that visit us, and this will be a better opportunity to have all of them together so that we can celebrate and chart the way forward for this unique university in the North Rift.
All right.
Thank you.
Professor Ruth, your closing statement?
On this celebration, Mr. Benson, I would like to say that we invite everybody to come and see in Kenya and beyond, government officials and our alumni, all of them, we would like them to come and see the achievements that this university has made, and so that they can come back and really support. Since we have an alumni office where they have, many of them have registered, and we encourage them to come and see what achievements have been made so far, and how they can support, so that we can get avenues of supporting others to go through the university. And the university being a big industry, because wherever a university is set up, you can see what happens. Lots of things happen, and therefore we invite everybody to come celebrate with us all these achievements, and then chart the way forward. Thank you.
Doc?
Thank you so much. We, as a university, we want to welcome all our stakeholders. And I know sometimes people would have wanted to know how programs are run in the university, and this is a time they need to come and interact with us. And more so, we also want to welcome the parents and the guardians of our students. They have occasionally also been with us, and this was a time we need to interact with them and have more time to spend during this celebration. Thank you.
Okay, let's wrap it up with Deputy Vice Chancellor, Teresa.
Vice Chancellor.
Deputy VC.
Vice.
No, the Vice, sorry, I apologize for that.
Thank you, Benson. Mine is just to say that the University of Eldoret has a bright future. And I would like to welcome everybody to come and celebrate a decade of knowledge and innovation, and we chart our way forward for the next decade. Above all, I want to invite the fourth years who are selecting courses, universities to join. Please join University of Eldoret. It's a unique university. It has students at heart, and it ensures that the completion rate is very high. At the same time, our alumni are very marketable. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That has been the Vice Chancellor, Eldoret University, Professor Teresa Akenga, and also joined by Professor Ruth Otunga, who is the DVC Academic and Student Affairs, Professor Philip Raburu, DVC Planning, Research and Extension. A little bit earlier, we had Professor Kisilu Kitainge, who is the Director, Industrial Linkages, Partnerships and Collaborations, and we also been joined by Dr. Hosea Kiplagat, who is the Dean, School of Education. They are all from the University of Eldoret, and they are celebrating 10 years of excellence at their campus. And remember, it's a one-week affair, a lot of activities, as we've been informed. So if you get the time, kindly, you need to check them out. Thank you so much for joining us. We are also waiting for that live feed from State House. Remember, President William Ruto and his Italian counterparts are in State House discussing a number of bilateral trade agreements, and we'll be crossing over to State House as soon as they start addressing the press. My name is Bentro Njue. Anwangeshi has been on sign language interpreter for the first bit. Thank you indeed for joining us. I'm giving rise now to Tamrini and Kurunzi.
After the dust settled on rigorous campaigns, Kenyans are waiting for elected leaders to deliver on their pledges.
To have clean, accessible drinking water across the county.
The hustle of everyday Kenyans is encouraged and rewarded.
Operationalizing Kerogoya Level 5 Hospital.
A functioning school feeding program.
But how have the leaders performed so far?
The percentage of A's in 2021 were more than those ones in 2022.
We will not politicize security, because if we do so, we endanger the country.
Every week, we bring you an honest assessment of the national and county governments.
One of the best ways of accelerating national development is through collaboration with county governments.
The Scorecard. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
There you are, Miguel. Are you hiding from me? He made a fool out of me. I thought he was my boyfriend, but no. He was going out with one of my friends as well, and at the same time.
What? No. Sorry, Marisol, but it's hard for me to believe what you just said.
Well, since we're talking about the past and about that missing boy, if my calculations are correct, that boy would actually be about the same age as you are.
Ruben, I honestly don't know why we can't be friends. Just like we used to be when we were young and when we didn't used to fight a lot and we could hang out together. Ruben, I really want to be your friend.
Put your rage aside and forget the rancor. Because it will end up destroying you as a whole, darling. I beg you.
I was part of the team ilitumwa ku take out Burhan. Nilikaa for 5 years, nika study the man. All I ask is you let me right my wrongs and give me an opportunity to bring Burhan down for good. Senior Sergeant Farah, aka Stingray. Opro Ibrahim, aka Mongoose. Opro Katana, aka Panther. PC Kibet, aka University. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We do this for honor.
Yeah.
Our loved ones, our family, and our country. 1, 2, 3.
Kama imefika ile kwa kubeba bidhaa kama kawa kuna maswali.
At KBC Channel 1, we put people at the heart of events with our captivating weekly news features. Every day, we are breaking new grounds with informative, entertaining, and inspiring human interest stories. On Mondays, 9 p.m., we have The Cabinets. Tuesday, 9 p.m., we get inside the barracks for military tales. We delve in the world of cinemas and theater each Wednesday night. For the young and industrious, make a date with us every Thursday at 9 p.m. Fridays are dedicated for my culture. On Saturdays, we go back in time for history in perspective. And on Sundays, we get to know the process of how things are done and made. KBC Channel 1 News features a whole lot of wonderful viewing experience.
Reggae music rocking my bones. Eastern City. It's the people's heartbeat. Moving one day at a time. Atunaga pressure. Tukisababisha we living one day. I said to love until me body to burn. Your nerves can't settle down. What's the hurry now? What's the rush? Take some time out, burn some kush. Life too short, have you always on the go-go. You see my run. Hey, them are no action, back at them, not them a run.
So dakta, mpenzi mtazamaji, zimekatika dakika 7 tu baada ya saa 6 saa za Afrika Mashariki. Kwa moyo mkunjufu na kukaribisha kwenye taarifa zetu za Kurunzi Mashinani na baadaye kitengo cha Tamrini. Lakini kabla hatujakuarifu kuhusiana na yale ambayo tumekuandalia kwenye kitengo cha habari zinazozidi kuchipuza, moja kwa moja naarifu tuelekee katika Ikulu ambapo Rais William Ruto amezungumza na rais wa Italia kuhusiana na masuala ya kibiashara baina ya mataifa haya mawili. Tuvuke huko tusikie majadiliano hayo yameafikia yapi.
Wish officials, members of the media, good afternoon. I take this opportunity to appreciate and express deep gratitude to His Excellency President Sergio Mattarella, the President of the Italian Republic, who has honored us by making this long-awaited visit to Kenya. It has been a tremendous privilege, Your Excellency, to receive you and your delegation.